guys can't hear me. Yo, 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 yo. What's going on? Hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to this Wednesday Indies Live audit session. Hope you all are doing fabulous. Say what's up if you're here in the chat. I see that we've got a bunch of comments. Oh, Kevin's here. Kevin, what's up, man? Hope you're doing well. I'm stoked that you're in here. Give me a shout if you guys are hanging out. I'm killing it with the rhymes today. Looks like we've got some good comments from Brett, from Julian, from Patrick, from Kenny, from Kenny, from Evan, from Tommy, from Mokai. A bunch of good stuff. So I'm stoked to dive into what you guys are doing. I'm glad you guys can hear me. Tommy, what's up, man? Hope you're doing well. Thank you guys for jumping in. So for those of y'all who are new here today, this is an audit session where I'm going to be going over any assets that you guys want me to take a look at, whether it's ads, landing pages, websites, emails, whatever it might be. I am here to be your second set of eyes and to give you my thoughts and feedback and any ideas that I might have that come to mind while I'm looking over things. So I'm stoked to dive into it, just so that we keep everything super, super neat and tidy. Now that we're in it, if you guys have anything that you want me to audit while we're going through things here besides what's in the comments, please just drop it for me in the chat. Raspberry Pi, what's up? Let me know what your name is so that I don't have to call you Raspberry Pi the whole time. Welcome. Thank you for jumping in. Yeah, if you guys have anything that you want me to take a peek at, if you're hopping in here and you haven't put it in the comments, feel free to just drop it in the chat and I will take a look. But without further ado, I'm going to just dive right in. I hope you guys are having a fabulous Wednesday. And let's get into it. Let me just clear one of my screens here so that I can bring stuff up. And see what we've got going. All right, so let's get a little screen share happening here. Boom. All right. Cool. Evan, what's up, man? Thanks for jumping in. Hope you're doing well. All right, so let's go through here. Oops. Let's go through here. I'm going to pull the watch page over, and we'll see what we've got going on. All right, so looks like we've got some questions. We've got a question from Brett. Looks like Julian dropped us some stuff. Patrick's got some questions. An audit here from Mirjam. Some stuff to look at from Evan. Stuff from Tommy. Good stuff. Okay. Some landing pages. Cool. I'm gonna dive in and see what we got going on here. And let me know if you guys have any questions as I'm going through things. But I'm just gonna get at it. Brett said, looks like this is a question more so than an audit. So I'm gonna go through this one because it looks like it's pretty short. But for any other questions in there, I'm gonna circle back around towards the end. I want to make sure that I have time to look at everything from everybody. But Brett, to kick you off, man. Facebook audiences only go back a year when compiling them, but is there anything wrong with using, say, a 75% audience, which was put together more than a year ago, or even using multiple older audiences? Yeah, so that's a good question. So video views audiences is what Brett's asking about here. So like a 75% video views audience. Yeah, so those audiences, those viewer audiences that you're asking about, Brett, those are dynamic audiences, like you're saying. So they go back a year. So with that in mind, what's happening is as that time is going on, people are falling out of that audience after they fall out of the 365-day window. So as people are falling out of that window of time, they're also falling out of that audience. Now, that said, there's nothing wrong with using those audiences. So you know, let's say over the course of a year, you got a lot of 75% views on a video, and and over time some people are falling out of it, but likely there's people who are still watching that video, especially if you're running traffic to it. So there's new people that are getting filtered into that audience as well. Now, for videos that maybe you're not running traffic to, but you still want to make sure you still want to be hitting people that are watching it, maybe they're checking it out organically, maybe it's something that they're discovering over time, there's nothing wrong with having that 75% video views audience in your targeting, just so long as you know what you're working with in there. And you can see in the in your audiences, in your audience asset menu, how many people are in those audiences. So that will give you an idea of what's going on in there over time. But yeah, they're dynamic. So like it's not like it's totally something that you need to keep recreating for videos. The audience will be dynamic. So whether there's a lot of people in that to use and whether it will be a useful audience, that's one thing. I can't necessarily answer that question for you. It just depends on what's happening with the video, if you're running traffic to it, if you're not, if it's continuing to get views otherwise. So the question is, there's nothing wrong per se with using it. It just may not be as bulky as it once was, depending on how long you've been running traffic to it, or how long you haven't been running traffic to it after people start to fall out of that 365-day window. So hope that answers your question. The short of it is that those audiences that you're creating based on video views percentages are dynamic. So it's going to continue to accumulate over time, even after you've created it. So hopefully that helps. There's nothing wrong with using it after the fact. Nothing wrong with using older ones. If it's got some people in it that you want to be reaching, it's all good. You can definitely do that. But that said, you do want to be focusing on getting fresh blood into your content, into your retargeting audiences, and continuing to build up a big pool of warm audiences through campaigns like your Fan Finder campaign, to just keep getting new cold traffic introduced to your music. So hopefully that helps, and I explained it in a way that was succinct enough. If you're here, Brett, and you have any questions, let me know, man. But hopefully that helps. And now to dive into the audit here, Julian said, "Hey Jack, I recently joined Indepreneur and I'm up to release our first Fan Finder campaign. Right now I'm looking for the best video to achieve the best results possible, and 2 of our already recorded videos come to mind." Cool. Welcome, Julian. Stoked to have you here, man. The first one is a Disney medley that already went viral on Facebook. Unfortunately, we didn't do any retargeting back then. The pros are that it definitely works very well and gives us a lot of views for little money. The cons are that probably the audience is not the most fitting for our own music, because although our songs are often acoustic and with 3 voices, they have nothing to do with the Disney niche. Furthermore, the headline of our original post, "Tag a Disney fan that needs to see this," might be a little problematic, as Facebook already tagged it as low quality once because of the headline. Cool, let me check it out. I like this video a lot. This is good. So I totally understand where you're coming from with this, Julian. Especially if your music really isn't sounding like this. You said your songs are often acoustic and with the 3 voices. Your band really doesn't have a whole lot to do with the Disney niche. So I totally get that. I do agree with you. The headline likely would be, you would get dinged by Facebook in your ads with that headline. And also, even if you were to pull the headline and change it, which you could do if it was published to your page and you wanted to just tweak the headline and retain your social proof, you would probably run into issues even in the video itself with this "Tag a Disney fan" bit. That said, it's a cool video. You could look at refactoring The video itself, I mean, I think it's cool how you go through the different titles of the movies and stuff like that. A couple ideas here. I mean, if you guys are I don't know a whole lot about your band, so let me just take a quick look here so I'm not speaking out of turn. Just get an idea of what kind of band you are. All right, my computer's being dreadfully slow. Okay, so you're listed as like acoustic pop rock. Oh, it's more than just a 3-piece. Okay, I see what you guys are going. Cool. All right. So I have some feedback for you on that I think could be interesting. I don't think that this is totally a throwaway. I think there's some things you could do to refactor it, and if you framed it, well, you could come up with some audiences that would perform well. Actually, you know what might be interesting. Anyway, I'm gonna go into it in a second here. My thoughts on this, but I want to look at your other video first. The second possibility would also be an acoustic cover, but is probably a bit less niche-like. It's an acoustic version of Imagine Dragons' "Believer," which we performed at the blind auditions of The Voice of Germany. Cool, some weeks ago. We definitely have to cut the beginning for the purpose of a fan finder. Start right with the singing. Messed up with a YouTube link, so I'd have to re-upload the video for that purpose. Although it might describe our style a bit better than the Disney medley, I'm pretty sure that this video is way less engaging than the Disney medley. Very glad to hear your opinion and suggestions here. Thanks a lot in advance, Julian. Yeah, man, no problem. Let me check this out. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, if you were going to run this, I definitely would recommend cutting the intro here. Cool. I'm not going to watch through the whole thing, but this is super good, Julian. I mean, the musicianship is really on. I think the video is cool. I definitely get what you're saying about it being a little less engaging, but might fit better with, you know, your style and getting the right types of people so that you're not just getting Disney folks. I would agree with you that cutting the intro there would be solid. Both videos are a little bit on the shorter side. For fan finders, what we tend to look for is videos, you know, longer than 3 minutes, ideally, just so that you're making the most out of those fans that are in that 75% viewer range. You know that they're really heavily invested because they've watched a longer bit of a video. Now, all that to say, some thoughts for you here, just overall things to think about. I think both of these videos are really cool, and you could frame them in an interesting way that, you know, this video, for example, the Imagine Dragons cover. If you wanted to run something like this as a fan finder, your headline could be the thing that could really pull people in, while the video itself is cool. You guys have a solid performance. It looks really good. It's well shot. It's candid. It's nice. The audio quality is very, very good. So I think there are a lot of good things about this video. Copy wise, you know, you could take the angle of The Voice and using that to like to get people's attention. Like, we snuck backstage at The Voice and performed this cover or something like that. We didn't get through the auditions at The Voice, but that didn't stop us from performing this song backstage or something like that. I think going the angle of like, we snuck into the auditions at The Voice to perform this could be a really cool angle to take for your copy if you wanted to run with this kind of video. And I think that would catch people's attention in the newsfeed. So that's just my thoughts on copy and the video as a whole, what you could do with it. Because I do think it's well performed. It looks really good. the video quality is solid, the audio quality is solid, the musicianship is really good, and I think there's something there that's at the very least worth testing. So taking that angle of sneaking into the voice auditions and kind of getting creative with that as your ad angle could be a really interesting way to do it. So I wouldn't rule that video out. I think that there could be some power behind that and worth testing, especially if you're not calling out Imagine Dragons in the copy. Leave people to find out what the song is from watching the video. That way you're not just finding people who are interested in covers. So there's my thoughts on that. Now, with regards to the Disney medley, I think this video is cool. I actually checked it out before I hopped onto the live here. I think that the headline would need to be tweaked. You'd probably have to refactor the video as well, like I said. But what you could do, and this is kind of just like a broad idea of what you could do with this kind of thing in the future as well, if you wanted to refactor this and mix in, you could do something like mixing in Disney bits of tunes into your songs, and kind of doing a medley mashup of your music into it. That could be one angle that you could take if you wanted to redo this kind of video. Now, with regards to just running this video as traffic, I mean, it's definitely something that you could test. It's cool that it went viral. One thing that you might want to try is, since you've got existing traffic on it, and existing viewers through the video, you could try doing some retargeting on the traffic that's already in there, and seeing if you can start getting some opt-ins with it. And that this is going way deeper down the funnel, so I might be thinking further down the line than you even are. But I understand what you're getting at here, and this is why I'm bringing it up. You want to make sure that you're getting the right kind of audience. And so what I'm talking about now is how to find out if those people that are watching this video, and if this video is creating the right kind of audience for you that will react further down the funnel. So what you might want to do is, before making a decision on whether you want to run this as a fan finder, is test some retargeting ads to that video views audience. So maybe go for the 75% viewers, maybe go for the 50% viewers. See if you can get them opting in for some kind of bribe. It could be a behind the scenes of you guys making the Disney medley, but more ideally something more related to your band. So behind the scenes of you just making music, maybe an opt-in for some kind of free experience, some kind of song. You could do a variety of different bribes, but use that to test the audience that you've already built up in this video, since you've got organic traffic. This video here, since you've already got organic traffic on it from it going viral before, that might give you some insights into whether there's actually an audience that would go deeper with you and go deeper into your buddy system, based on this video. So those are my thoughts on there. So I guess what I'm suggesting is, I definitely think number 2 would be a good fit if you can take a solid angle with your ad copy. Generally, we don't recommend cover videos for fan finders. A lot of the reason is because unless you're taking a unique angle on it, which is what you guys kind of did here, and I know you probably saw in the fan finder training the other examples that we've talked about with covers. But a lot of times what that can do is, if you don't position the ad right, you end up with people who are just looking for covers of things rather than really caring about your band. Now, not saying that that's going to be the case with what you guys are doing, but it's just something to be aware of. Now, I definitely think that that's worth running with. With the Disney medley, I think some tweaks would be necessary anyway to get it to run as an ad effectively with the headline, with the video itself. There's some things that you could do in there to just make that so that it would run effectively. But I think before doing any of that, it might be worth seeing if you can test that traffic that's already built up, those listeners that have already built up. And if it turns out that they are, listeners that are caring about you guys as a band, and you could bring them deeper into your buddy system, then that might be an indicator that this actually is a good video to run with. And you could tweak the copy to be like, more so than tag a Disney fan that needs to see this. You could be like, this pop band took Disney to a place we didn't know it needed to go, or something like that. So make the angle more about your music, about you, rather than just, Disney, viral Disney people. So those are my thoughts on that. I hope that it's helpful. I think this was a good example of like, the stuff that you presented here is a good example of like deeper thinking about your fan finder, which is good. And I'm glad that you brought these things up, because it's something that we talk about a lot with the team. It's a lot of the conversation that goes on in the indies community. But I think like looking deeper about what a fan finder can do is really, really important, meaning what it can do more so just in terms of cheap views or social proof on a video. It's about taking people further and further along in your listener journey. So I know that my answers here were not the most cut and dry, but I wanted to give you the kind of the full spectrum of my thoughts and opinions. But yeah, the short of it is I think that the Imagine Dragons cover would, if I were looking at the two of them, that would be probably my first test. If you were, choosing between these two, going with that. With the Disney video, seeing if there's an audience in there that's solid for deeper retargeting, moving them towards permission, the permission stage of the buddy system, and then if it is, then looking at running traffic on that video as a front end for your fan finder. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Definitely solid stuff. I also think what you did with the Disney medley, kind of expanding upon that and working in other ideas for another fan finder that you could make something new. If you could do that and make it a little more in tune with all the things that I've talked about here, and going kind of making it a little bit more about what you guys are doing and making people sort of fall in love with who you are in that video, but still keeping in this kind of vibe what you guys did in the Disney video, I think you'd be in good shape. So those are my thoughts. Hopefully it helps. Sorry for being long-winded, but I wanted to give you, like I said, as much as I could. But yeah, man, let me know if you're in here. Give me a shout, and I'd be happy to elaborate if you have any questions. But I'm gonna move on from here. See what else we got going on. Patrick. Okay, it looks like Patrick's got a question here about his plan. Patrick, I'm gonna come back to this in a second. I want to make sure, like I said, to just keep getting through the audit session. So I'm going to take a look here at this note from Kenny about Mirjam's landing page, this Ready, Set, Go road trip. So let's pull this up. Looks like it's an opt-in page. Cool. The Dirty Denims. Join us on the Ready, Steady, Go road trip for free. Be the first to hear never before released songs and get a behind the scenes tour. Cool. Reserve my seat. Get access to a 5-day interactive email experience on the digital highway with exclusive content of our upcoming Ready, Steady, Go Part 1. Awesome. Starting October 23rd. Reserve my seat. The Dirty Denims, a little testimonial here. Reserve my seat. Be the first to see and hear. You'll be part of a group of nice rockers who will hear our new songs first, and you will see our first official video for the song Ready, Steady, Go 2 days before its official release, and there will be a hidden Easter egg just like the old days on DVDs and games. Find it and you can hear the secret track. That's cool. Behind the scenes studio footage. You get access to behind the scenes footage of every song. Get a real taste of how the recording process went. Instrument parts on their own. Live from the studio. Exclusive content and interaction. We'd love to get in touch with you. We'll ask you questions. You get the opportunity to ask yours, and on day 5 you can be part of the live broadcast, which will have a Q&A. Play the 5 songs live from the rehearsal room. What people have said. Oh, cool! You've got some screenshots of fans just giving you guys all sorts of love. Dirty Denims play happy hard rock that makes you feel good in a heartbeat, combined with rock and roll, power pop, and a slice of punk. Sounds like AC/DC, Kiss, Joan Jett, the Ramones, and the Donnas. Large festivals. Cool. So a little description about what you guys are doing. Get in the mood with some awesome live footage. Cool. I remember checking out this video before. I think it was on I think you guys had it on a ticket sales page. Um, I like this. I think this is cool. Mirjam, let me take a look at it on mobile, and I can give you some thoughts. Cool orange button. Nice above the fold. Join us on the Ready Steady Go road trip for free. Be the first to hear never before released songs and get a behind the scenes tour. Awesome, cool. So I have some thoughts for you on your copy in this above the fold section specifically. I think in this headline here, join us on the Ready Steady Go road trip for free. So if I hit the page and I don't know what that is, that doesn't tell me a whole lot of what I'm gonna get. So what I would do here is I would tweak this a little bit to say get our never before released songs, or get our unreleased songs on the Ready Steady Go road trip for free. And then in your sub headline you can say be the first to hear these songs in a 5-day interactive experience on the digital highway. I would take out email just in case people don't like email and that turns them off. You could probably cut email experience from it, with exclusive content of our upcoming EP Ready Steady Go Part 1. I would say, like, move this into your sub headline, so you could say be the first to hear the songs on our interactive 5-day experience on the digital highway, plus exclusive content of our upcoming EP, Ready Steady Go Part 1. And then in this section here, you can talk a little bit about what that exclusive content is, to give people a little bit more of an inside scoop. So is it studio videos? I know you talk a little bit about that here, behind the scenes studio footage. You talk about the Easter eggs, you talk about the secret tracks, you talk about the live Q&A. I would pack as much of this stuff here, these cool features and benefits that you've got going on in this section. I would pack more of that into your above the fold to really sell it to people in this section, because this real estate is super important. Right now it seems kind of broad, doesn't really tell people a whole lot about what they're going to get inside, and I think that if you give them a little bit more in this section, it's going to be a little bit more compelling. So those are my thoughts kind of overall on just like the copy in general. I might suggest adding a little bit more of an overlay to this background photo, because right now it feels like there's sort of a lot going on, kind of just like smacking me in the face, and I'm kind of losing like focus on the page. So that's something to look at. You probably could bump up the size on some of these headlines and sub headlines, just to make them pop a little bit more too. Like it looks really good here on the mobile version of the page. So just some things to think about there. I like the photo of you guys here. Adding a border around it might make that pop a little bit, and then maybe you wouldn't need to add an overlay, but I like this kind of darker overlay that you've got going here, and that might make the photo of you guys stick out a little bit more. Let's see what this does. Ready, steady, go, road trip. Where should we send it? Reserve my seat. Let me in. So there's a whole lot going on in this opt-in. If you're able to get rid of this reserve my seat button so that people don't have to click it, and just they can enter their first name and their email address and that's it, that would be awesome. Also check out your Facebook pic. Oh, this is a MailChimp form. Okay, gotcha. All right, so you do have your pixel in there, it says. Let's go back to this page. Yeah, so these are just a few of my thoughts. Something else that I've been finding with a number of opt-in pages that I've been auditing is that this reserve my seat might confuse people. They might not know what that call to action means and what they're getting from it. So something to think about there might be like, going with a call to action that's a little more explicit. Send me the music. Send me the music. Give me the album. Send me day one even. That might be a little more clear, and help with your help with your conversion rate on the landing page. So something that I would recommend based on what I've been seeing on a number of different opt-in pages right now. So hopefully this helps. But overall, I think there's some cool stuff going on here. I think in this section you might be able to clear up the design work a little bit. Right now it kind of feels like sort of jumbled together. So I think tweaking some of the sizing of this font could be good. I like that you've got your button a whole lot here. So you could probably add some spacing to these sections. You know, add a little bit of padding to the tops and bottoms, just so it doesn't feel like everything's all kind of put into one section. And additionally, maybe adding some borders to these images might pretty it up a little bit. Also might make this question mark image stick out since it's got a black background. I felt kind of like thrown off by the fact that it was like square, and then like a question mark that doesn't have anything around it, just aesthetically speaking. And same thing here with your font. I think you could bump that up a little bit. But yeah, I think that this is really cool, man. You've got some good testimonials. I like the copy that you've got for your bio. There's definitely some good stuff happening here. So hopefully these recommendations help. Just a few things from my end. I think the copy is really the biggest point. If you can hammer in those benefits in your above the fold, I think that you'll be in good shape. So yeah, really get creative about how you're telling people about what's inside of this thing. That's one of the biggest critiques that I have with opt-in pages often, is just to really be explaining to people why. Why should they care about exclusive content? What is it? Why would your fans care about that? So that's the question that I want you to ask yourself as you're thinking about refactoring this. Hopefully that helps. All right, Evan said, "Hey Jack, what's up, Evan? I know you're in here. Thanks, man. My band recently put together our content pages for our opt-in offer. We recorded 2 in-studio singles and shot some interview-style clips describing the recording experience and how the songs were written. Any tips on how to improve the content page? Secondly, any thoughts come to mind for what an impactful opt-in ad might look like for this?" thecoastalband.com. Let's take a peek. All right, let's see. Live at Iron Grove Studios, 3 musicians, 2 songs, and 1 music-filled date at the stunning woodsy cabin soundstation, Iron Grove Studios. Get familiar with our first ever live recordings of our INDIESLIVE single Self-Image and our classic Soul Jam. It's all good. Very cool. So you got some videos here. Man, my computer's massively slow. There we go. Dig the sound. It's really cool. It sounds great. From the horse's mouth. Oh, cool. Little explainer videos. Cool. I dig this. All right, let's take a peek on mobile. Cool, Evan. Yeah, man, I really dig this. I've got some ideas for you. I think you could probably clean up the content pages a little bit. I sort of lose like what's going on in this. Like if I were to hit this page, especially as like after an opt-in, if I wasn't properly pre-framed into what I was going to be getting. So I think a couple things that would help here. If you and this is kind of going into what you were asking about the offer, but let's say you were going to brand this opt-in as a day in the studio with the Coastals. Let's say that was what you're a virtual studio session with the Coastals, where people are invited in. They can go behind the scenes with you. They can hear these songs and they can be in the studio with you. That's kind of, if let's. All right. Hey guys, let me know if you can hear me. I think, let's say you're going with the idea of, these songs are 2 songs that people haven't heard before. So you went into the studio to record 2 new singles, and you want to invite your fans into that session with you. That's a pretty cool opt-in offer. A digital day in the studio with us, a virtual studio session. Let's say that's what it is. And you're telling people they're going to hear the new live singles. They're going to see what it took to make those songs, and they're going to get kind of the behind-the-scenes look of the whole thing, what it was like to be in the studio, why you wrote the songs, how you recorded them. Get to see the live version in the video here, high-quality recorded content. They can download it, they can stream it, all of that good stuff. They can check out the lyrics. Got a mystery button. Let's say that's your opt-in. So I think what you could do to tweak this page a little bit is just to sort of walk people through the content page, kind of give them the lay of the land, so to speak. So like live at Iron Grove Studios, maybe you change this to more of like, welcome to the virtual recording studio or something like that. And then in here you could have a description: 3 music, 2 songs, 1 music-filled day at the stunning Woodsy Capson Sound Station in Iron Grove Studios. Welcome to this virtual recording studio session where you can get familiar with our first ever live recordings of Self-Image, and it's all good. So on this page, what you're going to find is video recordings of the single of both singles, and you're also going to find interviews with us where we talk about what we were going into as we were heading into the studio to do this session, why we wanted to do this, and so on and so forth. So you can kind of, if you get what I'm saying here, go in and explain what they're going to be seeing throughout this page, so they're not just kind of scrolling around and figuring it out for themselves. Let them know there's download buttons below, there's streaming buttons below. You can explain what From the Horse's Mouth is. You can give some commentary on the song either above or below the video. Explain what the recording process was like. Maybe talk about the gear. If your fan base is big into, if they're gearheads or something like that, you can kind of discern what kind of people are in your base. If that's the kind of thing that you guys have going on there. I don't know if, I know with a lot of indie rockers, a lot of their fans are other musicians. So, gearhead type people. So just things to think about. I think like in terms of your content, like you could really bulk it up with the way that you explain what's going on this page. That was kind of like the first thing that comes to my mind when looking at this. Same things with this From the Horse's Mouth. Like I said, explain why you're giving the comments, what the commentary is all about. Just dive into that a little bit more. I think that could be a cool way to go about it. As far as like the design of the page and stuff, I think there's some cool stuff here. I think kind of like what I was saying earlier on the Ready Steady Go page, I think working your font sizes just to make your headlines really pop, make your sub headlines really pop, make the body text stand out, because right now it kind of just feels like I'm looking at a website page that is sort of just there. So I think working to tweak that and make it just a little bit more cleaned up, concise, and eye-catching. So those are my thoughts there. Same with like Self-Image. You could center this, put it in the center of the page, add some describing text under it. These buttons, I kind of lose them. I think maybe looking at making them a different color, they could be solid in black, or if you can put an outline around them, that could be another good way to tackle it. But yeah, man, these are just some of my thoughts. Hopefully that helps. I just wanted to give you some ideas on things. Hopefully some idea that gave you some ideas on the opt-in ad sort of angle that you can take. I think the virtual studio session could be a really cool way to aim it. So that might be something worth looking at and kind of expanding upon in your mind. So let me know if that helps. Feel free to drop me any questions that you might have. But I'm gonna carry on here. Good stuff though. I love the sound. Really, really cool. And great work so far. I'm excited to see what you come up with next. Definitely share it in the group as you're building stuff out. Tommy said, hey Jack, thanks for the help. Yeah man, no problem. So I wanted to run an evergreen campaign for my last album. I did a series of monthly album launches since last September for the album that did well but never reached profitability, and in the later runs the ROI seemed to be dropping off. I also began working on a bunch of new projects, so I stopped it, but I really wanted to continue building my audience I wanted to keep my Fan Finder campaign and evergreen album experience going, even though I wasn't profitable. And I didn't have a lot of ad spend budget-wise, 3 per the 3 ad sets on the Sound Alike audiences, $12 total, 7 a day for the conversion campaign. I was thinking at least I would have new fans trickling in, which is better than no fans, so I ran the Fan Finder for about a week and then started up the album launch conversion campaign. But after a few days, I realized the conversion campaign was not performing. After checking in with Facebook, it turns out the campaign didn't have enough data. I wanted to get the Fan Finder video in front of only new people, and I have been running it monthly for almost a year and didn't want people who have already taken the experience, bought a CD or regular on my page to keep seeing it and wasting ad spend. So I tried to accomplish this targeting by creating 2 new custom audiences, those that watched the Fan Finder video only in the past 14 days, 50%, 75%, 95%, and another audience of page engagement in just the past 14 days. And I excluded almost all of my other audiences, including previous video performance, page engagement, purchasers, etc. This did not allow enough data for the conversion campaign to perform. How do I accomplish this? Is it possible to do this? Here's a link to screenshots of the various data. What do I need to alter in the audience? Include and exclude data or screenshots. Cool, let's take a peek here. New page engagement, 14 days. New things, viewers. There's your Fan Finder. All right, so a couple thoughts for you here, Tommy, that might make sense to do some tweaks. I think what you're probably ending up with is when you're running a conversions campaign, right? Facebook is looking for people, and you probably already know this, but just for clarity's sake, Facebook is going to, when you tell Facebook, I'm running a conversions objective, Facebook is going to look for people in the audience that you give them. So in this case, the 14-day new page engagement and the new things viewers over the past 14 days. It's going to look for people in that audience that are likely to convert. So what you're probably dealing with here is it's too small of an audience for Facebook to find enough people that are likely to take a conversion objective with you. And for that reason, the ad isn't showing. So what I would recommend doing here is a couple things. One, you've got a heavy amount of exclusions going on. You've got a heavy amount of exclusions going on, which might be affecting things because, for one, in this new video viewers audience, there might be people in that audience that are seeing you and then going and checking out other stuff, and because that's happening and because you're excluding them, they might be getting excluded from this campaign altogether. So that's one thing that might be going on here. I understand what you're trying to do with the new page engagement where you're trying to make it be only new people. What I would probably recommend is, rather than doing all this exclusion work and targeting the new page engagement, I would go, my recommendation for a test here, and I say that with purpose, that this would be like where I would start testing different kind of optimization, is I would go with a reach I would start with a reach campaign, low budget like you're doing, so that you're not, just burning ad spend, showing the ads over and over and over again. But I would start with a reach campaign with just your video views audience. You can probably cut out this new page engagement because it's going to be pretty hard to hone in on just people who are just new people who are new page engagement. And by doing all of the exclusion work here, you're really limiting what you're able to do. So that would be my immediate optimization point. If you haven't already tried a conversions campaign with that, with just the video viewers in there, I would start there. And you may have said that already, and if you did, I apologize. But I would start there. And then if conversions is still not spending and not performing for you, I would go to reach, use a reach objective and set it that way. And you can set some frequency caps if you'd like. That way it's just not bludgeoning people over the head. But those would be my immediate points of tweaking that I would make. just off the top of my head. Yeah, just based on what I'm seeing, I think that would probably be the way that I would go about it. Apart from that, bumping up your fan finder spend to get more people in that 14-day window. But obviously, then you're working with trying to figure out what the optimal ad budget is to make this thing work. And since you're trying to balance out spend with an album launch funnel that really wasn't profitable for you, I wouldn't recommend starting with just driving more top of funnel traffic. That might not be the way to go about this if you're just looking to get more subscribers and keep your funnel going at kind of like a steady budget. I would look at a reach campaign. That would be my recommendation there. Hopefully that helps. Let me know if you have any further questions. I'm happy to elaborate or anything like that. But yeah, I would say like the exclusion data is probably what's causing the issue. And just the fact that a conversions campaign is really limited down to who Facebook is identifying as likely to take you up on a conversion. So with smaller audience windows like that, a reach campaign might be the best bet. So yeah, hopefully that helps. Definitely let me know if you test that out and it's working for you. Keep us in the loop. Mokai said, "Hey Jack, I need help optimizing my funnel. So far I'm getting a great opt-in rate and losing folks early in the funnel. Evaluating emails and landing pages is probably most useful, as the add and opt-in page seem like they're converting best. Opt-in page conversion rate 45 or 42%. Landing page 1 from the welcome email message, 80 visits. September, only 1 view video. And then landing page 2 from second email message. Landing page 3 from third email message. Landing page 4 from fourth email message, sales page. Looks like I'm not getting hardly any views of the first landing page video. I chose to use WordPress hosting versus YouTube because I think the subscribe call to action on YouTube videos would be a hole in my funnel." Thoughts on that? I plan to post a link in a bit with screenshots of the emails if I can get them together for you. Thanks in advance, Mokai. Let's take a peek here. Congrats on getting solid opt-ins though, Mokai. That's awesome. So you're curious about...
Glad you made it. I hope while you're here you'll pick up.
Got questions about what's going on in your retention throughout your launch in your funnel. So let's see. Okay, so you said your landing page has 80 visits since September. Fortune teller said this is well, let me make sure I've got my days straight here. Mama's got the blues, what the fortune teller said, stone on stone, and special offer. Okay, cool. So a couple thoughts on this. Okay, cool. So here's a couple thoughts for you, Mokai. You asked about YouTube for the video versus WordPress. I think the subscribe call to action on YouTube would be a hole in my funnel. I don't have any data on whether that is or not. I've used YouTube in permission funnels often for content pages like this and haven't really seen too much of an issue of creating a hole in the funnel or any leak. So I don't have any. I don't personally have any experience of that being an issue, but I understand the concern. I mean, that's good, thorough work. I don't think that there's anything inherently wrong with having it hosted here on YouTube or on WordPress. I think that's cool. Couple thoughts for you. I think looking at these pages, there's a couple things going on here. I think first, on day one, I would make, and this kind of goes back to what I was telling Evan about, was being a little descriptive about what's going on here in this page. Because right now, like, the video, it's just, you're just dropping the video, and then you've got the single Mama's Got the Blues, kind of telling about yourself a little bit, thanking people for dropping by, giving them a free MP3, asking for their feedback. So I mean, here's my thoughts. Like, if you're getting opt-ins for a solid cost per lead and your opt-in page is converting as well as it is, that's awesome. I think refactoring some of these opt-in or these content pages would be solid, and giving people kind of a roadmap of what to expect, what the content is. I know you've got a story here. That's cool. So sort of driving a theme through this, I think would be helpful to increase the retention rate of people who are checking it out, because likely if they check out day one and they feel like it was really, really cool and there was a ton of content on it that they liked, they're going to be more likely to check out day two. So right now it feels a little disjointed. I would say, like I said, give them a solid header, give them an explanation, walk them through what the content on these pages is going to be. I would give them the MP3 regardless of dropping the comment, since they've already opted in. Having just a comment box at the bottom, where they can log in with Facebook and leave a comment, I think that would be fine. You'll likely get some feedback anyway by doing that. Just ask them for it. Leave the MP3 button in here so that they can download, and just pack this with as much stuff as you can. Give them a roadmap of what's going on in this experience, and I think that you'll see your retention rate throughout the funnel each day of it could be really, really cool. So yeah, that's kind of like my overall thoughts just by taking a peek at this. I think that would be like point number one, is just to really pack this with more stuff, pack this with more content, whatever you've got, whether it's lyric sheets, whether it's diaries, whether it's studio videos. I would say adding more stuff into this, and giving people kind of the lay of the land will definitely help to bump up your retention throughout. And then I can't really give you much thought on the emails without seeing them, without really giving much thought, without being able to see the emails. Unfortunately, I can't really help you there. But depending on what your open rates are, your open and click rates, I'll just give you kind of like a broad overview here real quick. If you're seeing your open rates lower than you would like to see them, then I would focus on refactoring your subject line, your subject of the email, to sell the open. So that's what you would want to look at doing there. So something along the lines of if this is day one, it could be like, day one, you won't believe what my mom said, or something like that, kind of going along with the Mama's Got the Blues kind of thing. And then in the body of the email copy, sell the click to the content page. So you can talk about what's going to be inside, and why they should check it out. Lead them into the story of what's going to be going on in this. So if you're making this more of a themed kind of launch, where you're telling a story throughout and you're taking people on a journey, and making it an experience, I think that would heavily see your attention throughout the thing jump up, as opposed to just giving them a video, giving them a song, and asking for feedback. I think that taking them on a little bit more of a ride and walking them through the process will endear them to you, and really just set you up for success. So hopefully that answers the question, and gives you a little bit more push into your funnel here. I wouldn't worry too much about the views of the video. I would look at what's happening in terms of retention across these days, and getting people to your offer at the end. Obviously, I think if you tweak all the things that I mentioned, with really just giving people a lot of value and giving people a map of getting through that value, and walking them through it step by step, I think you're going to see all of that go up, including the video views on this first video. So yeah, that's my thoughts on this. Hopefully it helps you, man. Definitely keep us in the loop. Drop in the group for sure, and keep us posted on what's happening. Great work on your opt-in ads. Sounds like it's going really, really well. So congratulations on that. I'm eager to see what you come up with on these pages. If you need any inspo, definitely dig through the group. There's a ton of great work that I've seen people do with content pages. And yeah, hopefully just watching this whole audit session was helpful as well, because we were kind of talking about this stuff with Evan. So yeah, hopefully that's good stuff for you, and gets you on the right track, man. Tommy, what would I remove from the exclude section? I would honestly, to start it off, I would remove I would remove all of it from the reach campaign, and just run with the 14-day video views and see what that comes up with. If you wanted to exclude your current subscribers, you could do that. That would be one way to ensure that, or exclude the pixeled opt-in thank you page, or the content pages of your album launch. That would probably be another thing that you could do, just to ensure that those people don't get in again. But other than that, if you're trying to just hit the people that are new in your world, I would leave the exclusions on the sparser side, and see what you can do with a reach campaign. Hopefully that helps, man. Let me see here, make sure I'm not missing anything. Let me go through the chat. I'm gonna bring my face back up. Cool. So I hope you guys got something out of this, and that it was helpful. All of you guys that were just kind of hanging out watching, going through these sorts of things. If it helped with anything that you were working on, I hope that it did. It was fun going through this stuff with you guys. Hopefully the comments that I've got will get you on the track that you're looking to go to. I'm going to refresh this page real quick, just in case some last minute comments came in, and then I'm going to set you guys free on the world. All right. Oh, Mokai dropped his link here. So let me take a quick look before we hop off. All right, so you got your opt-ins. Let me blow this up a little bit. Am I able to... I live in the city. I do have a back patio, but that doesn't sound as cool for a name. I like the copy. That's funny. I'll tell you more about where I hang in my backyard and why that matters in a moment. First, I want to make sure you see this. First single off my new album. Whoops. Please let me know if this song means anything to you after you hear it. Does it tell the story of anyone you know? I'd appreciate it if you share your thoughts by replying to this email. Okay, cool. So, Mocha, I think you've got the idea of sort of what I was talking about doing in your content pages, and you're sort of doing it here in the email. So what I would recommend is refactor. I'm just talking about this first email here, but this applies kind of across the board, sort of to what we were talking about. Is I would go into some of these, kind of this story-driven element of asking people what the song means to them, and all of that good stuff, and sharing sort of this story. I mean, the first section is funny. Like, the first off, I should reveal I don't have a back porch. That's really cool. I like that. I think it has a cool, it's a cool introduction. But inviting them into this, like, rather than telling them, that they're clicking for a music video, give them something a little bit more, a little more of a reason to check this out. Walking them through what's going to be on this page, and kind of going into, you can tell them more about your backyard and why that matters. Go into that on the content page. I think that could be really, really cool. I'm trying to blow this up so that I can read it. You may have seen in the video me performing the song on the acoustic guitar. In this video, you'll hear the album track with the full band. All of that, that's all really, really great. Those are all great content points that you can make on these pages. So I think highlighting that stuff in your content pages and kind of building a story around that for what your back porch social club is going to be is what I would recommend doing. Just based on seeing this first email, like there's a lot here. You're kind of going into storytelling mode in your email, which is great for a lot of reasons, but I think you could take a lot of this and turn it into, a really cool experience for people. So that would be my big recommendation, just based on what I'm seeing here. Again, I can't see the email stats, but if you're seeing open rates that you're not liking, working to really sell that open in your subject line is going to help. Let me take a peek here. Hey, I hope you took a look. Please look for that email. I know in the last message I said I would tell you a little bit more about the Jaybird. Yeah, it's cool that you're opening loops. I think that's great. You could have a PS section in this first email that says, this is getting long. I'll save that story for next time. Rather than saying I'll save that story for next time, open a feedback loop that says, hey, P.S. I'm going to be sending you an email tomorrow. I'm going to tell you that story about the album in an email tomorrow. So make sure you keep your eyes open. So pre-framing and getting people ready to get the next email from you. Hey, I hope you took a look at the video for the first single. Again, this is kind of like talking higher level here about just refactoring what the whole journey for these people is going to look like. Giving them a step-by-step. Hey, did you catch day one? I shared with you the first single from my album, The Jaybird Said, and I also sent you a free download. So if you didn't, here's the link. You can resend that day one link. And then in my last email, I told you that I would tell you more about the Jaybird and explain how it relates to the album, but I've got something else on my mind. I'm thinking of this experience that I had. It was shortly after completing the recordings of my album. You might be interested in what he told me. The full story is here on my blog, and well, it involves you. So again, you could go into about the Jaybird and about the fortune teller. You could go into that on your content page and saying, I've got something else on my mind, so give me a minute. Check out this experience that I had when I visited my friends in Hong Kong. I detailed the whole story for you here, complete with, another song or something like that, or a behind-the-scenes video, or a storytelling session where you're on, front-facing in camera with them. So there's, that's kind of like the ideas that I'm sort of hopefully feeding you here, and hopefully it helps. I need to make this Jaybird thing make sense. It's not like I talk to animals or anything, but living in the city, there are only so many of them around, so you get familiar with the ones that are. I've been yakking at you about this album I made. I hope you see the video of the first single I sent. I could go on and on and on about the making of the album and the musicians who played, but I really should be telling you about the songs and why I wrote them, what they mean to me. Here's one of the songs inspired by the Jaybird. So yeah, I think like you're sending people to Stone on Stone. They can hear the song here. I think what you could do is really like tell the story on that page rather than in the email here, and that gives people like there's a trajectory, there's an arc to this experience that you're creating for people. So I hope that you're catching what I'm throwing here is like you've got some good stuff happening in your emails. I think you're giving people the farm in the emails in a lot of ways, and not encouraging them or not giving them the curiosity to take that next step and to click over to your content page. So I think in terms of like action items for you, working to just put together some really, really cool content that you can include on these pages to make the social club more of an experience rather than just the content pages sort of be a call to action and that's it. Make those content pages something that people will want to go to because they know that it's packed full of stuff and that the story is continuing over there. And then what that will do is it will allow them to consume your music in the process of doing that. So that's kind of my high level thoughts on things. Hopefully it helps, man. Keep us posted on how things are going. Definitely drop some notes in the Indies group. And like I said, there's tons of really, really great people in there that are doing some cool stuff. So these are just kind of my initial ideas, but there's tons of info and inspo in the group. Hopefully some of the ideas from the Ultimate Album Launch training helped with this as well. But I think you've got some cool ideas, and just sort of formulating them into something a little bit more structured will really help people go along the journey with you. So yeah, man, good stuff. Hopefully my thoughts on this are helpful. Thank you guys so much for kicking it with me. I'm going to let you loose into the world and go and make these tweaks. And I will catch you guys another time on another Indies Live. Take it easy. See ya.